What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. It is July the 7th, Cleveland. This is week 146 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Today, we're going to have a lot of conversations, obviously, surrounding the NBA. The NBA Finals just got started. We're going to talk about the Bucks and the Suns, and if the Bucks can keep from getting swept here. We're going to get into this Rachel Nichols, Maria Taylor saga. This bounce back, and Malika Andrews sneaks in there and elevates her role. So that's good for her. And then we're going to talk about Nate McMillan. We got some conversations. He's in the news after they lost last week. We're going to talk about NFL fans. We're going to talk about, man, has Aaron Rodgers been trolling us all this offseason? We're going to get into that conversation, and then we're going to unveil our NFC East predictions for 2021. Cleveland and I are going to give you our predictions of how the teams are going to follow up. We're going to get into the Sha Carrie Richardson saga. We're going to talk Team USA. We're talking about the construction of this team. And Cleveland, do you like this construction of this team? We're going to get into that. And then we want to know, fans, what's the biggest tip you've left? I'm going to ask Cleveland this question. I left a healthy tip at Daniels a couple of weeks ago. And one thing I have to say about that is I'm not happy when they take the tip out of your they automatically apply the tip to your
So
bill.
It was a mistake then.
I don't like
that you left a great big tip. Okay.
I don't like when they apply the tip to your bill. Now I understand if it's a group of
because there could be confusion
10 or more,
and then you'll add an additional tip, which just makes it that much bigger, right?
Right. I mean, come on. Allow me to leave the tip. Allow me to judge your service. I tip on service. I don't know about you, Cleveland. I tip on service. If I don't get good service, that comes out of your tip. If I get good service, that adds to your tip. So allow me to have control of the tip that I leave you. Because your service may have not been that good where you deserve that 20%. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. So we want to talk to you about, we're going to ask you that question. What's the biggest tip you left? But yeah, I wasn't pleased with that tip. I ended up leaving there at Daniels in Leshai. I wasn't happy about that one. So I'm in the hole. I got to work back, fans. I got to get some of that back. And we're going to get it back this season. May even get it back before the NBA Finals is over. We're going to see.
That's not happening.
We're going to see about that one.
At least not on my end. I can't help you with that. So,
I mean, we're going to talk about that. Okay. But fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in again. Voice of the Fans podcast. Each and every week we do this. I want to thank you guys. Thank HNB Media for their help in promoting the show and producing the show. If you're not subscribed to HNB Media on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to HNB Media. If you not subscribed to Voice of the Fans podcast on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to Voice of the Fans. And then, as always, you can find us on any podcast platform that you're familiar with: iHeart, Tuned In, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, any podcast format that you're familiar with, you can find Voice of the Fans podcast. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in, chiming in. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of the show, because that's the only way we're going to get better, if you let us know what we need to do and to improve. So once again, I want to thank those guys at HNB Media for chiming in and producing the show. And thank you, fans, for listening to the show. So Cleveland, let's get right to it. As I mentioned, it's July 7th, 2021. Years zipping right on by. It's week 146. When you think of the number 7, Cleveland, who wore that number best, or who first come to your mind? And I'm wondering, there's a kid from UW wore number 7. I wonder if he comes to your mind first at all.
Okay, well, Cam, to be perfectly honest with you, the person that comes to mind first is Kevin Durant, just because of his inability to deliver on his promise to get the Brooklyn Nets to the NBA Finals when he came over as a free agent. But the person who wore it best, in my opinion, would probably be John Elway.
John Elway went to 5 Super Bowls, man.
Sure did.
What did he go to? Three back to back to back? and got crushed in every one of them. And then somehow he won back-to-back Super Bowls later in his career. Why did he win back-to-back Super Bowls, Cleveland?
Superior offensive line. He had a fantastic tight end, Hall of Fame tight end, Shannon Sharp, with in addition to a really good, solid defense that kind of kept the score kind of low, and they were able to
Is that what
split the ball down the field. Had some pretty all right receivers, but just the experience of John Elway is really, I think, what kind of brought the whole thing full circle.
Oh, had nothing to do with number 30 back there toting the rock, huh?
Well, of course, and then of course they had a pretty solid running game with Terrell Davis for those 2 years.
Hall of Fame running back running the ball.
He is in the Hall of Fame. You're correct.
Don't leave that out. Don't leave that out.
Correct in saying that. That's put that on his moniker as well. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
So somehow you leave Paul Scanzi off your list.
He was a great number 7 over at UW. Almost got us over the hump a few times, man. One of the best, session receivers there's ever been in college.
I tell you what, the new UW, man, I don't think you should drive down Montlake. I don't think you should go down the hill over the bridge. I don't think you should make that trip anytime soon, buddy.
Cam, I paid so much in parking tickets. I should have my own parking space over there.
You should have your own parking space.
I should.
Yeah. Well, the way the prices are today, man, I don't think you can afford those prices now. All the prices are out of parking that they added to the spot. Number 46. Who wore that number best? Or when you think of number 46, who first comes to your mind?
Cam, I'll be perfectly honest with you. The only person that comes to mind is the tight end in the silver and black. That'd be Todd Christensen, and because he's really the only person that comes to mind, I'm happy to say he wore it the best.
Did he wear it better than the reliever, Lee Smith?
Shame on me, Cameron, because I am almost best friends with one of Lee Smith's cousins.
No, he went to the UW too.
He did, actually.
Yeah. Clearly, yeah. I'm telling you, don't drive down that hill, bro. Don't drive down that hill, man. I'm warning you. That was a fair warning. But you're right, Todd Christensen, man. I think Todd Christensen ran a 5.40. I don't know how he got open. There was time he wasn't even open, and yet the quarterbacks are still throwing the ball. He just run that little, I can't say 10-yard hitch route because I don't think he was getting 10 yards down the field. It was more like a 7 or 8-yard hitch route, and the ball was just sticking right in his gut every time. And this guy made me sick. He made me sick. Like I think maybe he ran 2 out routes, but he ran the out route. He was wide open because everybody was sitting on the hitch route, and he was catching. Did he ever drop the ball?
Had that Blintnikoff training, so almost never.
Man, it was I was sick of Mr. Todd Christensen. But he number 46, I'd have to say he wore that number best. Cleveland, as we know, the NBA Finals started this week. Started yesterday, and we're gonna get into that game. We're gonna talk about that game. But leading up to the game, we had some little drama in the world of ESPN that kind of seeped out. What do you think about what Rachel Nichols had to say about Maria Taylor getting an opportunity to do sideline reporting for ESPN? Because we already know she does it pregame. It only seemed natural that you just have her come on down to the sidelines. And Rachel Nichols is already, she's big. She does the jump. She does the sideline reporting. And then she'd interview the guys after the game. So either way it goes, Rachel Nichols has been holding that position down for the conference finals. Like she awarded the Western Conference champs the Western Conference championship trophy after the Suns beat the Clippers here in LA. So she's always been a fixture with the NBA. Not always, but for the last few years anyway. What do you think about this controversy? What do you think about the words that she had about Maria Taylor, specifically saying, if ESPN is trying to cover their back, don't do it on, don't come looking her way, or don't do it on her job. Like, what do you think about the comments that she had, and how ESPN handled that? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it speaks to the competitive nature that a lot of these commentators and broadcasters have, that perhaps us as the general public don't necessarily realize all the time. And I think that definitely came out in her displeasure with not being able to get the position. That being said, it seemed like it was somewhat that she was blindsided by the decision. I think that's one of those things that if you're making that kind of decision, that ESPN kind of owes it to both people to kind of bring them in and have a conversation with regards to, this is the direction that we're going. You don't want to get that in a text or an email just saying, hell, hey, by the way, you're not doing this. So there's also that element. And then there's the element that she thought that she was having a private conversation with someone that was on the hot mic, or I'm sorry, her camera was still on, or whatever the case may be, that suddenly her private thoughts became very public. But lastly, her take on the whole thing is, I know for a lot of people, it probably sounds very cavalier with regards to how she kind of played herself as the villain, so to speak, that they were coming at her position because of things that had happened previously. But ESPN is always full of drama. There's always going to be drama over there just because of what the nature of what it is that they do, and how it is that they come across, and what it is that you can potentially create or become because of that platform. So, it seemed kind of catty to me a little bit. It seemed like she was kind of putting it on other people, and kind of not really taking responsibility for, perhaps it's just, not her time right now, and didn't handle it well.
So let's I'll go backwards with how you brought it up. And the most important part of what you said is, she did believe that the mic was off, and this was a conversation she's having with somebody in private, if you will. So when you take it at that, all of us has had conversations with our coworkers that we wouldn't want to kind of get out to other coworkers or get out in the public. So all of us understand that point. So in that respect, I don't want to say you feel sorry for her. That's not where I want to go. But you kind of want to take this situation at a grain of salt, understanding that what she said wasn't meant for public consumption. Okay. However, with that being, even though that's the case, she was name calling. I mean, she dropped names. Like, that was, when you drop names, you're speaking specifically of somebody, and then how their role is impacting your role. And when she says, I wish Maria Taylor all the success in the world, and then she went on, she covers football, she covers basketball. If you need to give her more things to do because you're feeling a certain way, like, now you're making it, now I felt she's almost belittling Maria Taylor and her capabilities, like saying, okay, they're just trying to find extra stuff for you to do. That's how I kind of read that. And then, she said, if you feel pressure about your crappy long-term record on diversity, which, by the way, I know personally from the female side of it, like, go for it. Okay. So are you talking about the female side of being looked over for opportunities, or are you talking about the female side of you being capable for a role and they're giving it to one of their cronies? Like, if you're saying you understand it, but now in the next sentence you want to knock it because it's affecting you. It's okay to do it if it affects everybody else in the office but you. I find, like, just find it somewhere else. You're not going to find it from me. or taking my things away. Well, if you understand that, Miss Rachel, where's the inclusion from your side? Where's you're I don't think you're in danger of losing a job, Miss Rachel Nichols. And if that's the case where you are in danger of losing a job, I don't think you're going to have a hard time finding another job if you were to somehow leave ESPN. So,
well, let's not forget. I mean, Rachel has already been at ESPN, got bounced to TNT, and then came back to ESPN, and then understands that there's been a mass exodus of personalities and talent over there. So I think in a lot of ways, she felt very entitled to that sideline role because of the position that she has been able to establish, doing the jump and kind of being that, go-to person, and quote unquote, so to speak, in her mind. And she feels like she's been usurped by some type of affirmative action decision. And that really the only reason that Maria Taylor is in that position is because of their horrible track record, and they have to do something about it. And she just didn't feel like she should be the culprit or the victim of them trying to make amends for past wrongs. So I don't necessarily think that she's correct in that assessment, but at the same time, I think that's kind of where her mindset was.
But if we take,
not speaking for her directly, but that's just kind of the impression that I
get. Certainly, and if we take your thoughts for her exact mindset, Rachel, you got a job. You do the jump. You're at every finals game. You're going to be there before and after everybody leaves. You're going to be there. You're going to get the candidate interviews. You're going to go right ahead in front of the line. I've seen that personally, where she moves right in front of the line to get the content that she needs for her show. Your job, you're not minimalized is kind of my point. You because you're not on the sideline, your role is not going to be minimalized with ESPN, with your viewers, with your content collection. So I don't see, my question is why even go there? And this obviously was a year ago, but why even go there? Because your roles is not being minimalized. So that was my point. That's where I thought, as you mentioned, you used the perfect term for it, was caddy. And then and lastly, I just want to say congratulations for Malika Andrews for being on the sidelines of all this, and then she's stepping right into the sideline reporting role, which Malika is really cool. In fact, I've met all three of these ladies. I think Malika is the coolest one that I've dealt with. Although Maria's not bad, I thought Malika was the coolest one of all of them. But it's just, I think there's so many hands in it. I don't know. There needs to be some symmetry with the ESPN's telecast of the NBA games.
Hold it right there, man. ESPN is not all about symmetry, and certainly not these days. I mean, first of all, they're kind of dealing with their whole situation with cable adverse streaming. They're dealing with their budget being way overdone and bloated. They're dealing with having to cut a lot of major talent all the time. So
I can help
consistency from ESPN at this stage of the game is an unrealistic expectation.
So Cleveland, to the bloated, to your point about being the bloated budget, why do we have Jay Williams, Jalen Rose, and Maria Taylor doing the pregame, right? At halftime, we bring in Woj to do the pregame, to be a part of the halftime show, and then postgame we don't even. So we hear from these guys before the game, in the middle of the game, but we don't hear from that group after the game. We hear from Stephen A. and Michael Wilbon. Why do they do it like that? And then during the game, they have the sideline reporting, and that's obviously whether it was Rachel Nichols or Malika Andrews. Now we've incorporated 6 different people, talent broadcasters, to commentate on the one game. That's no symmetry there. We don't hear from the sideline reporters before or after the game. We don't hear from Michael Wilbon or Stephen A. before, during, just after the game. Again, that's the symmetry I'm talking about. succinct message that the fans or the viewers are able to grasp because of the way they're producing the show. It's like overproduced, if you will. And that's a whole nother topic, but there's no symmetry there. So you want to talk about the bloated budget, we can, not that I'm all six of those guys, at least three of those, Michael Wilbon, Stephen A, and whoever that sideline reporter is, they're going to have a job. They're going to have a job with ESPN. Obviously, Michael Wilbon has the best show on TV. Stephen A has a morning show, a show he does every morning. So they're taken care of. They can come in as guests, if you will, to kind of be part of the Scott Van Pelt post game or Sports Center. But to have them like being a fixture in the game, I think it takes away from Jalen Rose. Jay Williams probably doesn't need to be there, but Maria Taylor, because now you don't hear their voice consistently throughout the show. And that's when I say consistency, that's what I'm talking about. Like, okay, they talked about the game before the game. They talked about it at halftime. It'd be nice to hear their feedback at post game. Is their feedback consistent? Are they shocked at what actually happened? You follow what I'm saying? Or the other way around, where you don't hear from Michael Wilbon or Stephen A. You don't hear from them before the game, so they can maybe give you a prediction and what they think the game is going to go like, how the game is going to go, and then you hear about them after the game talking about, oh well, I was wrong or I was right, whatever the case may be. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, you don't get the chance to kind of have them be accountable for what it is they're saying, their analysis, and kind of their prognosis. But at the same time, there's probably a lot of different numbers and demographics that go into these decisions that we're not privy to or aware of, and they just kind of make their decision the way they make it. So I think, again, you're asking for something that is an unrealistic expectation, wherein it will be a cohesive anything.
Okay, well that's fair. That's a fair point. So we're gonna leave it there. Thanks for your feedback on the saga, and let's talk about the actual game itself. The Suns rout the Bucks. It was a 13-point game. It was a 13-point game last night. It felt like a 23-point game to you. I don't know, or to me. I don't know about to you how you felt watching the game, but it looked like the Bucks were really never in the game. There was a couple times where they cut it to within 7, but then the Bucks would make a turnover or do something silly, and the Suns would then come down and hit a 3-pointer and kind of extend their lead. Whether it was Devin Booker, whether it was campaign, Chris Paul had another big third quarter where he went off. They just never really felt close in that game. Ayton continues to impress, and with his consistent game, he had 22 and 17 last night, which is he really wasn't a standout in the game. Like when you're watching the game, it wasn't, oh my, look at this kid, look at what he's doing. But at the end, when the game's over and you look at the stat sheet, 22 points, 17 rebounds, and 80% shooting. Now, Cleveland, I don't know if you know this, but there's 3 guys who've done that in basketball history. 3 guys. One of them, can you guess the 3 guys? I mean, I'm sure you can guess 3 centers in the NBA who have a stat line similar to that. Can you guess?
My guess would be Wilt, Kareem, and Shaq.
Well, Shaq didn't do this. Wilt and Kareem are the only 3, and now Ayton is the only one who.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying there was a third one in addition.
No. Well, okay. It's 3 now. Ayton is one of them, and then Wilt and Kareem. So Ayton's name is now etched in the finals lore with Wilt and Kareem. Again, when you look at his number, when you watch the game, it wasn't a blow. He didn't blow you away, but it's that consistency, and then the fact that teams have really trouble stopping him, stopping what he does. And then a large part of that is because you do have Devin Booker. You have to look out for on the wing, who didn't have a huge game. I mean, again, another game that really didn't blow you away, but he finished the game with 26 points and 27 points and 6 rebounds. It's like, and he shot an off game. I think he was 5 for 12 from 3-point range. I'm not looking at the numbers, but I think he was something like 5 for 15 from the field. So his numbers weren't great, but he finished the game with 27 points. And then obviously Chris Paul had 30 points. So I guess my question to you is, Is there any way the Suns? Is there any way the Bucks can stop this coronation of Chris Paul?
Well, two things. It's actually Devin Booker's coronation. Chris Paul is along for the ride. Appreciates it. Appreciates it. It's not the Chris. It's not the Chris Paul coronation. It's the welcome Devin Booker party. Just to set the record straight. So, again, but to answer the second part of your question, yeah, it's possible Milwaukee can upset the apple cart. I just think it would take too much doing for them to do that. Chris Middleton would have to show up every game, and as we've seen through the playoffs, somewhat sporadic with regards to when he wants to go off on a tremendous offensive spurt, right?
He might have a good game in game 3, maybe.
And it's kind of weird, right? Yeah, 3 and 6, right? Yeah. or something like that. 2 would be very nice for the Bucks if they could do that, but probably be more like 3 and 6 if there is a game. 6, right?
Yeah, if they're alive. If
there is a game 6. I liked the way that Giannis came out. He definitely did not show a lot of ill effects of the previous hyperextension of the knee. He looked pretty explosive to me. Now, whether he can continue that, it's hard to say. I'm not a doctor, but he looked really, really good out there as far as his fluidity and his movement. Unfortunately, he has the Shaq syndrome, can't hit free throws, so it's hard to assess exactly how valuable he can be. I mean, he's always going to get his numbers, but I didn't see a whole lot of the Brook Lopez effect. Drew was okay, but I mean, those guys have to be better than okay for those guys to have a semblance of a chance of winning a championship.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Excuse me. Got some feedback. I'm trying to respond to. Excuse me, sir. To respond to the fans. Giannis, in regards to Giannis and what you said, Giannis, he didn't. You're right. There's no ill effects, but his low post game is he has so much work to improve upon. Like he go if the Euro step isn't working, where he just takes a ball rim to rim and give him the Euro step and hits a bucket. If that's not working, his game is kind of limited. When they give him the ball in the low post, like if they leave him alone and if they double team him, he's toast. If they leave him alone and nobody comes over on one person, he might be able to do something against anybody else other than Ayton. And I'm kind of disappointed in his development. A 2-time MVP. I would have liked to seen maybe there's a drop step that he can turn around. He can count on a drop step turnaround jumper from the baseline that he can turn around or that he can count on. Maybe something at the L where he can drop step or, back in and kind of turn around a hook shot that he can kind of come up with. Because what he does is not consistent. His game is not consistent.
And it's not consistent because of what you're alluding to. It's the lack of a signature move. It doesn't really seem like there's anything that he necessarily 100% wants to do if he's in a certain situation, right? He's in a certain spot on the court. I don't want to compare him to the dream shake or the sky hook or anything like that, or even Tim off glass. But you know what I'm saying? It's like
come up with something. I mean,
yeah, you have something that you at least want to go to, and it seems like he's always very indecisive. He wants to see A, if it's a single team or double team, and B, if it's single team, it's not some patented move that he wants to go to. So, but at the same time, he's gotten his team all the way to the NBA Finals, so credit him for that.
Well, I mean, I just never was confident in this team in particular, in the Bucks in particular. Obviously, I feel if they were playing a healthy Nets team, they lose in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
The Hawks, if the Hawks stayed healthy, maybe they could have, Nate McMillan could have outcoached Bud there in the games, 3, 4, and 5, but they weren't healthy. So I don't feel I have no confidence in what the Bucks bring. You already stated their number 2 guy is just I mean, he's just as erratic as the weather here as the weather. You can't count on him. He's just as erratic as the weather is up there in Seattle. One day it's 90, one day it's 70, the next day it's 106. I mean, what are you going to get of? What's your summer been like so far up there, buddy?
Like you're saying, pretty much all over the place. It's very hard to predict, and unfortunately, when you're in NBA Finals, you somewhat need predictability from your number 2 guy.
Yeah, and then as much as I like Drew Holiday, I like what he actually brings to the court. He's better than the point guard that they had there, the George Hills or the Bledsoes. He's better than those guys, but he's just as erratic. I mean, he's not. I didn't see him stopping Chris Paul. I didn't see him actually on Chris Paul till 3 minutes to go in the game when Chris Paul already had it going. And it was like the dam is already broke at that time. It's kind of hard to tape up the dam once it's already broke, right? So I need to see more out of Drew Holiday. If defense was his best attribute, he didn't display any defense last night. Not that I was impressed with. And maybe he needs to be better at that, or can he be better at getting Giannis easy buckets? I don't know. I think he did have 8 or 9 assists, if I remember correctly. But as far as getting Giannis easy buckets, somebody's going to have to help Giannis with that because he doesn't have the go-to move to kind of make that happen. So all in all, I'm saying is, can the Bucks still win? Obviously, they can. They have a 50% chance to do it. Will they? I'm not confident in them doing it. How about you?
Oh, I don't know if they have a 50% chance of doing it. Again,
well, there's
outlining all the things that
there's
we
two
just
teams
said.
on the court, so nobody else has a chance to do it.
Oh, is that what you meant by that? Oh, okay. Well, usually when you say 50% chance, you mean like the teams are like somewhat equal, and they're not. So I don't think they have a really good chance of doing that. I think they will go back to Milwaukee down 0-2.
They go back to down on Milwaukee 0-2. I mean, and then you're just counting on Middleton. Middleton is. I had this conversation with the scout at the Clipper game a couple of weeks ago, and Middleton was 50, 40, 90 last year. This season, he shot 89.5 from from free throw range, so he wasn't 50, 40, 90. He missed it by 5 percentage points because he was 89% from the free throw line. But I'm like, that's just, I mean, that's when stats steer you wrong. Everybody hails at that 50, 40, 90 stat, but he's a
like they do in the triple-double stat.
Mm-hmm.
It means the world to a lot of people. I'm not going to name names, but I'm just saying.
I think that 50, 40, 90 speaks more to your all-around game. And the triple-double speaks to your overall involvement in the game.
So, no, I think the triple-double speaks more to your all-around game. The 50, 40, 90 speaks to your shooting accuracy. Or you wouldn't be able to go 50, 40, 90.
Yeah, fair point.
That's not something Giannis could do, for example.
Yeah, no, he's not going to be in that class.
Not going to go 50, 40, 90 for me.
He's not going to be.
That's Larry Bird type stuff. That's Steph Curry type stuff. Yeah.
But we're saying that for a complete season, Middleton has essentially done that for 2 years. But we don't see this in crunch time. We don't see
it sometimes, and when he comes out, when he decides to come out, it is spectacular to see, and it's very unexpected, and it's like, wow, look at this dude.
What have they played? 12 games in the playoffs this year? They played more than 12 because they went 7 with the Nets. They went 6. That's 13. What was their first round game? At least 6 games, I'm sure.
They swept the Miami Heat.
They swept the Heat, so we got 13. So they played 19 games in the playoffs, 18 games in the playoffs, and he's put up 3 big games that come on my mind. 3 out of 19. Like, that's a bad percentage. I don't know what's that. any stat book. We can look at baseball. 3 out of 19 is not good, right? 3 out of 19 is terrible. So it's nothing you can count on. And unfortunately, that's kind of where he is. And then why I have no kind of confidence in what the Bucks can do, even when they go back home, unless Giannis develops a go-to move here overnight. And do you see that happening?
Not overnight, no. Won't be this season.
Yeah, so it sounds like this Chris Paul coronation. Now, this is
Devin Booker coronation. Devin Booker coronation.
How do you go Devin Booker coronation when Chris Paul has kind of driven this team here?
Devin Booker's the last Jedi. He's the last Jedi.
Oh boy, here you go.
Trained by Kobe.
Oh, because he was the last one to actually go
be legendary. He's the last one to follow in the Mamba footsteps.
So I thought we just talked about this. Didn't we just talk about this 2 weeks ago? So you now all of a sudden you want to agree with Stephen A. and say he's like Kobe Bryant?
I didn't say he was like Kobe Bryant. I said he was the last Jedi.
He's the next.
I said it was his coronation. It's not Chris Paul's coronation. I've heard so much crazy talk about Chris Paul last week. It's stupefying to me.
I mean,
this is the first time he's been healthy this late in the season that I can recall.
Well, they've had.
I've heard people referring to Chris Paul as like a top 10 all-time point guard for this one NBA Finals appearance. It's like,
well,
I'm not on the Chris Paul train like everybody else.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. Where do you have Chris Paul? I mean, he's at least top 5 point guard, isn't he?
Okay, we're done with this conversation, man.
Well, I mean, let's talk about.
I will not even entertain a conversation if you think he's top 5 all time or even top 5 right now. I will not entertain a conversation with you until you reevaluate what it is you're saying.
Well, help me. Okay, I'm listening to all-time point guards right now, and I'm gonna start with Magic, and then we're gonna have Jason Kidd.
That's big of you. Who'd you start with?
And we're gonna have Jason Kidd in there. We're gonna have John.
Wow.
We're gonna have John Stockton. So we got Magic, John Stockton.
I mean, did Isaiah Thomas make your list? Did Oscar Robinson make your list?
Okay, that's 5. Here we go. I'm taking
5, 6. I mean, did Gary Payton make your list? Did Steve Nash make your list?
Hold on. Let's slow down.
Am I going too fast for you? Because we're already at like 10.
No, we're not. We're not at 10. What kind of math are you doing?
What number are we at, dude?
I got Magic, okay. Kidd, Stockton, Thomas, Robertson, Nash. So that's 6 right there. You want to put? We're gonna have to talk about Peyton. We're gonna have to. That's a conversation. And I love Gary Payton, but we're gonna have
that's debatable.
That's a conversation. So sure. we're at 6. Who else you want to put on this?
Is he better than Steph Curry?
So this.
You're questioning that. See what I'm saying?
No.
See that kind of weirdness that when you do that kind of stuff, it's what are we talking about here?
But it's Steph Curry. Some people want to classify him as
the only unanimous MVP in the history of basketball. Is he better than him?
Okay, I have him listed.
I appreciate that.
Okay. I have him listed.
Is he better than your dude, James Harden?
But is James Harden a point guard, though?
Yeah.
Is he a point guard? I kind of feel he's a shooting guard. Okay.
Is he better than your dude, Kyrie Irving?
Oof.
Man, yes. Why are you even racking your brain?
Yes.
See, you need to stop with that kind of stuff. Don't even rack your brain about that kind of stuff.
Yes, he is better than Kyrie Irving, only because I know he's going to show up.
Chris Paul is better than Kyrie Irving?
I know at a point guard, at playing point guard position, at playing the point guard.
I have no more to say.
Are you kidding me? You have Kyrie Irving?
I'm not going to entertain that kind of talk for 1 second. Man. You clearly do not understand the point guard position to even say something like that.
Okay, wait. Time out. So we're at 7. I got Curry at the 7th place, and this is no particular order, just 7. Magic, Kidd, Stockton, Thomas, Robertson, Nash, and Curry. So if you want to call, see what I
he's not even better than Tony Parker, bro. I mean, let's just be real serious about this. He's not better than Tony Parker.
Wow. I don't know about that one because
Okay, you need to get some
what are
more
we
point guard.
Tony,
What metrics do you
Tony
use
Parker?
that
Like,
Chris Paul is better than Tony Parker?
I mean,
There's no metric that you can
Tony
come
Parker
up
had
with
3
where it's
championships,
even a
obviously.
comparison in any way.
Let's see who had more assists, Tony Parker or shit. I feel like Chris Paul played before and after Chris Parker. That's kind of how I feel. Or I mean, excuse me,
Well,
Chris
Tony
Paul
Parker has an NBA Finals MVP, so
I know, I understand.
Let's let Chris Paul get to that first.
Okay. But I want to see the assist leaders. Where does Tony Parker fall in assists? He doesn't have more assists than him than. So because Tony Parker has 3 championships, that makes him better right off the top, and I can't argue that one. He has 3 of them. It's not one, but he has 3 of them. That's one's hard to argue. But what metrics?
4 might even be 4. I didn't do the research real quick.
He has 3. So when you say what metric would you say Chris Paul is better than Tony Parker? Tony Parker has 7,000 assists, 736. Chris Paul has 300 more, 500 more assists than him at 10,275. Chris Paul is number 5 all time in assists. Number 5 all time in assists.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, I was really referring more to like that playoff pedigree, and also he doesn't shoot better, and he doesn't have better handles. So
then Tony Parker?
No. Do you really remember Tony Parker, man? I'm trying to figure out why we're even still talking about this.
Tony Parker was he not a product of kind of the system there with Chris Paul, with Tim Duncan, and
certainly helps to have the greatest point guard to ever play basketball on your team, but that doesn't mean that you don't have
greatest power forward. No, I'm not detracting from the skills. So the reason I tell you this, the reason I hesitated with Curry is because Curry is no more of a scorer, right? You're gonna say,
bro, I don't know if Chris Paul is better than Baron Davis, bro. Saying.
All right, now you really. I don't know what did he come up there and smack your wife? I don't know what happened there.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, Chris Paul's cool, man. Is he better than Russell Westbrook?
At the point guard position, absolutely, yes.
Oh wow.
At the
better
point guard,
better than your walking triple double, your dude.
As far as getting guys,
he's better than Damian Lillard.
Listen, this is what I like about Chris Paul. Chris Paul is I'm not a fan of Chris Paul. Let's take it right there. However, Chris Paul is the quintessential point guard. He is the guy who's going to get your shooting guard the shots in rhythm. He's the guy who's going to get your center, your power forward, the ball in the right place for them to do something. That's what he's going to do. He's the floor general. That's how he's going to lead your squad.
And that's great.
Yes.
It's not his coronation. It's Devin Booker's coronation.
How do you go to Devin Booker coronation, though? That's what I understand. Devin Booker's been at this 5 years. He finally he's turned the corner to where he's an all-star. Did he make the all-star team? He's turned the corner, right? He's made the all-star team one time, hasn't he?
He's their best player. Yeah.
Well, I just don't understand how he gets to be the Devin Booker coronation when, I don't think any of this was possible without Chris Paul. They wouldn't be number 2 in the West without Chris Paul. They wouldn't be.
He's been a helpful contributor, but it's not. The spotlight is not on Chris Paul. Chris Paul's a nice feel-good story because he's been in the league so long, and he's had such adversity, and he's had so many times where he never really lived up to expectation, and everybody's pulling for him. But no, man.
I see how you're slanting this, but this is Devin Booker's 6th year, bro.
Devin's time.
This is
step in as a made guy and circumvent the line, like you were talking about earlier, of all those other players who were supposed to be better, but they're just not. It's not Chris Paul's time, man. I mean, it is his time. I mean, I'm happy for him. Way to go. But wow. Hey, man, no, it's more about Book.
That's surprising. That's surprising because my next question was going to ask you, who's more critical, bigger impact on the Suns? Was it Booker or Ayton? Like I got Booker and Ayton right there being more critical for this team other than Chris Paul.
It's Book.
I'm sorry, man. I disagree with you.
What is it that you're not seeing?
He's a good player. Like I said last night, he didn't have a good game. He hit 27 points. He didn't have a good game. It wasn't his best game, but he had 27 points. He's not the killer.
The mere fact that you're just kind of glossing over his 27 just goes to his greatness right there, because you're acting like 27 is not that big of a deal. Oh, it was a quiet 27 in an NBA final game.
Yeah, it certainly was.
It wasn't an impactful 27.
You're right. There you go. You understand exactly what I'm saying. Stop acting like you don't understand where I'm coming from.
Because it was still 27, and the only reason that you're not happy with it is because you hold him to a higher standard, which is valid because he's arrived, and you want to see a little bit more. That's fine. I like it.
Listen to the.
I like it. Yeah,
that's not at all what I said.
Because then the 27 is so.
That's not at all what I said.
I bet the Bucks would have liked 27 from Chris Middleton. Bet that.
well, yeah.
Okay, and then it would have been spectacular, right? Because it's Book. It's
that's not at all what I said.
27, but I mean, you know,
that's not at all what I said. And here you go trying to twist it up. That's how you go. How you trying to twist up?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what number you would have to get to impress you, but 27 in your NBA Finals, appearance, your first appearance, not bad in my book. Apparently, he has some improvement to do in your book, which is fine.
Let me see. Now you got me looking back and correcting you. 8 for 21. Is that good for you? Is that good? 1 for 8 from the 3-point range. Is that good? This is a guy you want to coordinate here tonight, huh?
Yes. Again, in his first NBA Finals appearance at home,
he goes
8 for 27 points.
Okay, Chris Paul in his first NBA Finals appearance had 32 points.
How's Chris Paul?
19. 12 for 19.
Chris Paul's 47 years old, right?
I mean, what does age got to do with it? It's his first NBA Finals.
Well, I mean, he's had a little bit more practice in trying to get there, and probably, let's be perfectly honest, a little bit more grateful for the opportunity to, finally get that asterisk off of his name. I mean, G Book is going to get that when he's 24 years old. Going to be hard to talk to that dude.
When the finals is over, who's going to win the Finals MVP? Devin Booker. Or Chris Paul?
Devin Booker.
You're absolutely crazy. Do you have a Daniel's dinner on that one? Do you have a Daniel's dinner on that one?
Let me think on that one, get back to you. Let me think on that one, get back to you.
You're absolutely nuts. Let the people know where they can find you on social media.
At Clevie Wonder on Twitter. Clevon Steele on Instagram.
I can't believe this guy said that. What's Clevon? So this is a good conversation here. We're gonna wrap this up here. You still got to improve. We'll get back to this later on in the summertime. But we got seven point guards that are in the top 10, hands down. I'm not ready to say Kyrie.
You're still on the point guard conversation?
No. This is where I want to leave it to make sure fans understand where we are. I'm not sure. I love Gary Payton. I love everything Gary Payton GP brought to the Seattle Supersonics. I'm not sure he's a better point guard than Chris Paul. Harden is a shooting guard. He knows he can play the position. I'm not ready to say that he's a 100% point guard. Is Harden better than Chris Paul? Oh, my goodness. I guess I'm going to have to say, yes, he is better than Chris Paul. So there goes number 8. I'm going to have to say that. There's number 8. Kyrie Irving is no. I can't rock with you there. Kyrie Irving is not better than Chris Paul. Kyrie Irving is a scorer. The same reason I wanted to say I was hesitating with Steph Curry, who's more scorer than kind of facilitator and get your team in action. That's why I hesitate. But no, I'm not rocking with Kyrie Irving better than Chris Paul. So we got 8 players. And so tell me why Chris Paul is not in the top 10.
I'm not even going to do all the research, man. I'm just going to hit you with a barrage of numbers and names because,
Give me 2 more names. Give me 2 more names. Give me 2 more names.
Is he better than Tim Hardaway, dude?
Ooh.
Is he better than the UTEP two-step? Is he better than Kevin Johnson? I mean, is he better? I mean, is he that kind of point guard, man?
Oof.
Until this series, you would have bet $1,000 that dude was not going to even get through the series.
Oof.
And you're still not quite 100% sure he's durable enough to do it.
Oof. Kevin Johnson, 6,700 assists. Tim Hardaway, I'm having to go down pretty far in this list.
And you're only looking at one stat. I mean, you're not even. I mean, just do the eye test, man. Who would you rather have running your point?
In fact, there's Tim Hardaway right there at 18. Kevin Johnson is at 24 in assist leaders. Wow. Again, Chris Paul does on the court. If you look up point guard,
would you rather have Anthony Penny Hardaway running your point or Chris Paul?
I mean, obviously you want the 95, 96, 97 Anthony Hardaway, but that's all he did it for. Chris Paul has done this.
Why are you even like, pointing it around like that? And if we're staying in that same vein, would you rather want Tracy McGrady running your point or Chris Paul?
Oh, Tracy McGrady wasn't no point guard. Come on, stop it.
Oh, he was for sure a point guard.
Stop it. No, they gave him the ball because he can handle the ball. He wasn't a point guard, no. So no, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Derrick Rose.
I mean, now you're reaching.
I'm reaching a little bit on the Derrick Rose. Okay, I am. Body at work. That's true.
Now you're reaching.
Reaching a tad bit. Mark Price.
Oof.
One of the 50, 40, 90 dudes you were just talking about.
Oof. Now I would gladly take Mark Price. I would.
And then who was that dude that replaced Mark Price? Terrell Brandon?
Oh, come on.
You remember that dude?
All right. We're going to take a break here. Now you got Terrell Brandon in conversation with Chris Paul. We're going to take a break here, fans.
You got me heated up, man. You're acting like Chris Paul's like the best thing since sliced bread, man.
No, I told you. I got him.
Congratulations for getting to the finals his first time, but man, top 10. He don't crack the top 10, man.
You haven't given me two. You haven't given me 2 more guys. He at number 8. He's at worst number 8. Excuse me. At worst, he's number 9. At worst. You haven't given me 2 more guys better than him.
We will revisit this conversation again next week, and I will have a plethora of names to throw at you. Promise.
Okay. All right. Well, again, fans, Cleavon, what's your Twitter? How do they get in touch with you with this?
It's at Clevie Wonder.
Yeah.
On Twitter and Cleavon Steele on Instagram.
And you can find me What's Good in Sport. I'm about to tweet this out right now, Cleavon. I'm tweeting this out right now.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to say is Chris Paul a top 10 point guard? Is that what you want me asking?
Yeah, he's not. But yeah, ask the question.
Stevie Wonder says CP3 is not a top 10 point guard.
And just to see where your head's at, I'm taking the hot rod too. Taking Rod Strickland.
Rod Strickland.
I'm taking Rod Strickland over Chris Paul.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You named a lot of good players.
Just saying. Yeah.
Point guard in NBA history, right?
Yes. I mean, we didn't even get it all historical. I mean, I didn't even name Bob Cousy and cats like that. I mean, we're not even going that far with it.
Stop with Bob.
Just like 10 people you can name.
Stop with Bob Cousy.
It's got 8 rings.
I mean, come on. He was. Stop.
I'm not. I know the level of competition, all that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You want to get all historical with it. I'm just saying we're not taking it that far back. We're just going to eye test and just names you can just come up with, man. It's not that hard. But when you start trying to I don't know if you're better than Tony Parker. I mean, that makes the conversation kind of hard to have with
you. No, because Tony Parker had the greatest point guard to ever play the game. He had Manu Ginobili, the greatest European ever.
Man, I'm not trying to hear about all the other ancillary things he had around him, man. That's not the conversation, man. The question is Chris Paul a top 10 point guard? I'm saying he's not even better than Tony Parker. So how's he going to be top 10?
Oh, wow. So here it is. Cleveland Wonder says CP3 is not a top 10 point guard in NBA history. Do you agree with him? That's the tweet right now.
Hit it.
It's out there. I can't believe it. Man, you're going to get so much slack for this.
Can't wait.
You're going to get so much slack for that. All right, Cleveland. So let's take a break here, man. It's a pretty passionate conversation there about the NBA Finals. Where we're going to come to. When we come back, man, I want to know, has Aaron Rodgers been trolling us? I think Aaron Rodgers has been trolling us. And I'm going to tell you why I think that here in a moment. But let's take a little break right now, Cleveland. Good conversation right there. Great conversation. Although you're wrong.
You're so wrong. I'm sorry. I thought you need point guards a little bit better than that. My fault for making that assumption.
Listen to you. All right, let's get back at it. Thank you, fans, once again for tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. If you go on Twitter, you will see my tweet, What's Good in Sport, asking a question about Chris Paul being a top 10 point guard. Please respond to this goofball as to Chris Paul being at minimum a top 10 point guard. He talked me out of the top 5, but he's at minimum a top 10 point guard. And we're gonna circle back on that one. But we had some NFL conversation, Cleveland. Nikhil Harry asked for a trade for the Patriots, right? I want to know.
I did hear that.
Does that say more about Cam or does that say more about Bill? Which one? Cam being the quarterback, Bill the guy who drafted him. He don't take receivers in the first round. He drafted him with the number 15 spot. Who does that say most about?
It says everything about Bill.
Oh. Of course you would say that. Of course you would say that, right? Yeah. Nothing about the receiver throwing to him.
Nothing about the quarterback throwing to him, no. What it has to do with is the fact that Bill went out on a limb and then brought him in, and he's never ever produced. And so he's over there. So he's over there with the 5th string punter, sipping water, not really being involved or part of the grand scheme of things.
Is that Bill's fault that he hasn't stepped up and done anything?
No, it's not Bill's fault. I always thought Nikhil Harry was a bit of a reach. I mean, I saw him have some pretty big games here and there, but I also saw him have a lot of mediocre games. So I know that,
I'll tell you what, he's made some spectacular catches. He does. He has from Arizona State. He has a nice highlight reel. I give you that. As far as big games, we're contributing to making big numbers. That not so much, but he has a spectacular highlight reel. And I kind of thought, going to the Patriots. Obviously, last year Cam being down, they didn't have Cam struggled to throw the ball anyway.
You're looking at this all wrong, Cam. Think of it this way: do you want him in Miami?
I mean, we need receivers in Miami.
I mean, would you trade a 3rd round pick for him?
Not a 3rd round, because I think what we have now is okay.
So you might trade a 5th round pick for him.
Yeah, certainly. I give him a 4th.
Well, isn't you have an answer right there?
Okay.
You don't want him.
I mean, I'm not going up. I didn't drop him to number 15. I mean, I thought that was kind of high, but
okay. But I
so
mean, but if you get a top 15 pick for a third round pick, and you wouldn't do it because you've seen enough to see that you're not really all that impressed with N'Keal Harry in the NFL.
well, what I haven't seen from him is he had quality quarterback getting him the ball.
You haven't seen enough to warrant a third round pick.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So let's go on there. Apparently, Travis Etienne has been warming up at the receiver spot, and looks like your guy Urban has planned to use him like Percy Harvin. How do you think that's going to work out in the NFL?
I think it certainly has an opportunity, depending on the schemes that they run him in. I mean, Travis Etienne is certainly very versatile, and have always been curious to see how his skill set translates to the next level. In the same way that I was very curious to see how CJ Spiller's talents translated. It never did, even though he was a top 10 pick.
No, it did. He just couldn't stay healthy.
Couldn't say it. Same thing with Reggie Bush. I mean, I think he has that type of, you can use him kind of all over the place. And, Urban Meyer is creative. So we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, I would. Percy Harvin is a bit much. I don't know why you don't want to run the ball with this kid. Like,
you definitely would want to run him more than.
I don't know why we're trying to get too cute. Unless Urban sees that he can't run the ball. He can't be an effective running back, which is a different story. Like that's
unless you're Reggie Bush, I certainly don't want my running back, running back punt returns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean they had the young kid number 21. Forgive me, I'm having a brain fart. Who ran the ball? He gained over 1,000 yards, but we already talked about what 1,000 yards meaning for an NFL running back nowadays. Little or nothing. That means you're serviceable. Robinson, I believe his name was, who ran for 1,000 yards with the Jaguars last season. So you have him and you have Etienne. Like I want to see what he can do just as a full-time running back. And let's let somebody else do the dancing around and do the cute stuff, the jet sweeps and coming out of the backfield. Let somebody else do all that. I need him as my bell cow back, and then that way Trevor Lawrence has somebody to count on in the backfield, and then he can kind of throw two out the backfield. If that's how you want to give him the ball, you can throw him on those slants and the belly passes, or have him run into the flats. But let's try to just run the ball with Travis Etienne first, before we try to make him the next Percy Harvin, because Percy Harvin was special, and he was that receiver that was too small to. He was that player that was too small to be your bell cow back, and the receiver who you just want to get the ball in his hands, in any way you could. That's how I remember Percy Harvin, and I don't see Travis Etienne in that same mold, in my opinion. Do you?
No, I mean, not at this point. Certainly, Percy Harvin was someone that you just wanted to get the ball to him in space and see what he can do. I'm sure to a certain extent, Travis Etienne has some of those same measurables, but I don't think enough to make that comparison just yet. We'll have to see what they unfold, what they unveil as far as their offense, and see if all of the hype is worth it. But I think right now it's a bit much.
Yeah, another reason that the Jacksonville Jaguars are an interesting bunch to look at this season. All right, man. Aaron Rodgers, man. I think he's been playing with all of us this offseason. Says he's working on his mental health now. That's the story this week, as he's going on vacation in Hawaii, doing the Jeopardy game, having the golf specials with Brady and DeChambeau, and the other dude. Nichols, or what is it, Mickelson? I think I don't know how much of that you watched yesterday. It was on the same time as the finals was on, so I don't know if you caught any of it. But
then I think you have your answer right there.
But when they went to him and asked him, whoever was commentating asked him about what he's going to be doing this fall, September. Like how he was just avoiding the question is, I don't know. You're gonna have to let me know, and we'll see. And what's going on in September? I don't know. Like I think he's been fucking with us all this offseason. The team didn't make a commitment to him, so whether he feels I don't have to make a commitment to them, if that's the case, and he's just saying, okay, can I demand a trade at 32? Nobody's clearly going to has
32. Wow, he could certainly demand the trade if he was 32. Yeah.
What is he? 36.
I think we're getting.
I don't know. I don't even know what is how old is your boy?
It's going more like 38-ish.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't even know. That's a. Can he command the trade? Clearly, nobody's jumping at trading for him, right?
Oh well, I'm sorry. So you took your trade package off the table then?
Oh my assets are tied up with working on a deal with Houston right now. my everything, my assets are a little tied up right now. Okay.
Oh man,
we still.
You need to watch Voice of the Fans. Is what you need to do. Okay? You need to rewind the Voice of the Fans a few episodes back, man. You would have given your left testicle to have Aaron Rodgers be your quarterback.
Come on, let's not go that far. Let's not go that far. Again,
fans, pull the tape up.
Again, my assets, as I stated, they're directed to a certain team down south right now, in the Bible Belt in the Petroleum District down there.
You guys already got Will Fuller the fifth. What else you guys want from Houston?
No, stop it. I mean, that's actually not a.
I don't know if Whitney Merciless is on the trading block, my friend.
That's actually not a union that I'm in a hurry to reunite, because Will Fuller. Hey, Pete. Hey, Pete. I got somebody you might be interested in. A speedy wide receiver who wears a low number under 20. Are you interested, Pete? I mean, that's where I'm going. I mean, I'm calling anybody who will pick up the phone, because by week 5, oh my goodness. What was the other guy who dropped the ball in Seattle? Who we sent to Houston, ironically?
Stills. He Stills.
Will Fuller is more inconsistent than Stills, Kenny Stills. So I don't know what they saw in him.
Okay. Well, I guess back to my point, you're not getting anything from Houston, and if you recall, you were absolutely drooling like a Saint Bernard dog over the fact that it was a potentially possibility that you could get Aaron Rodgers for this small window of opportunity. And then you went on and on about how, he doesn't have much time left and you got to get it right now. You probably don't remember it, man. I'm just saying, let's run it back a few. I'm not
giving up a whole lot, but I'm not giving up a whole lot.
Oh, no, you were willing to give up the farm.
No,
a couple number ones.
As I stated, my assets right now are tied up in Houston. You see, everything's been quiet right now, right? Everything's been really quiet on the down low right now. Training camp is about to get started, and so that means he's about to go to.
So that means it's about to ramp right back up with 17 more people.
Roger Goodell.
Roger
Goodell. Oh, here you go. No, he's past that. I don't think
he's not past that.
I don't think he's
past 20 plus people accusing him.
I don't think he's had.
Perhaps he got a little bit more confidence since
I don't think Bill
since Mr. Jello Pudding got out of jail. Like, you think that's like a real thing? No. Your dude Deshaun Watson is not just getting a pass on this.
No, I don't think he's had more than 2 people come through to give them a masseuse in the last 3 months. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure that number has been narrowed down from 40 to 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure of that. And if not, Deshaun Watson, you need to give me a call, buddy. You need to give me a call. Hit me up on Twitter. What's good in sports? And let's talk about this, okay? Because, yes, there's still some changing or improvement we need to do. But with that being said, I'm not Roger Goodell's about to open up that exempt list, and he might be on that exempt list for the first 4 weeks of the season. Because that's going to be the agreement that we're able to come to the first 4 weeks of the season on that exempt list, and that's the time right there. That's when we pounce right there. Go ahead and offer them the 2 number ones. This one for 2022, 2023, and go ahead and ship that trouble right on to us. We'll take it from here, Houston. We'll take it from here. So our assets is a little tied up right now, and I think, as I mentioned, Aaron Rodgers has been trolling us all off season. He's going to show up. He's going to show up week one of the game one of the preseason, and then just kind of work his way back into the swing with the team there. They're not going nowhere. The Packers are going to be where they are, but I got Aaron Rodgers suiting up for the Packers at week one of the NFL season. How about you?
No.
You don't? Okay. I don't know where you think he's going to go, because clearly nobody's has pounced on him. Clearly nobody's has picked him up, so somebody would have made a move by now. If he was truly available, somebody would have made a move on him by now. You don't think so?
I'm sure there have been trade offers.
Carolina,
just haven't been accepted at this point.
Carolina, the Broncos, somebody.
Carolina has Sam Darnold. They're okay there.
What?
I don't think he runs the Baylor run and shoot that well.
Are they really okay?
I think he would be better off in Denver.
Denver, Elway, you come on. If they would have made a move by now. What are they waiting on?
It's not the right time, Cam. I mean, timing is delicate with these things, man. Okay. It's the MVP of the league. You don't just make a deal like that. It's not the way this works.
So you wait for somebody else to do it? I mean,
first off, the Green Bay Packers are going to try to exhaust all resources to see if they can keep him. Once they realize they can't, and they have to get whatever they can get for him, or just have the MVP of the league just sitting around as an unused asset, then that's when it'll get done.
Okay. So let's we got 2 things to look at here this season. You want to go through the NFC East predictions, or you want to go to the top 10 fantasy football quarterbacks? Let's go through that
NFC East first.
NFC East. So it looks like for the second year in a row, you have the Washington football team leading the pack, right?
And I do last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Second year in a row. I think you had them last year. So I'm actually following suit here.
Nice.
I think with their defense is proven, they got a solid defense, they got a solid running back. If they get any quarterback play, they can.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, of course, they're going to get some great quarterback play from him.
Great. I don't know about great, but
he led the Dolphins to a 10-6 record last year.
If they can get, he wasn't there. He wasn't the quarterback the whole 10-6.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. He did get replaced for the heir apparent. Sorry.
Yeah. So, but if they're gonna put up some numbers. Obviously, the quarterback is gonna put up some numbers, and he can lean on that running game. I think they're gonna be. I think they're gonna be pretty good. Because that was one thing they couldn't do last year. They had a solid defense, but they couldn't put up points. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, if that defense is healthy and their young defense, so they're going to be able to make a stop, and then they'll be able to survive when Ryan Fitzpatrick throws an interception and defense has to get right back out there. They're young enough that they're going to have to get out. They can stay out there and maintain their same level of play.
It's really sad the way you do those Ryans when they leave the 305, man. You don't treat them with the same respect that you did when they were there, and you'll appreciate them more when they're gone. Just saying, the way you do them Ryans.
Okay. I have the Giants at number 2. I think with the return of Saquon, their defense has stepped up. Daniel Jones gets another year as a quarterback. I think they can be just consistent. The Cowboys, they always seem a way not to be consistent. Although, again, I will say it again this season. They have the chance to be one of the most explosive offenses in the league. Will it happen? We'll have to see about that. But they do have the chance to be one of the most explosive offense with the receiving core, with Dak back there throwing the ball. Can he limit his mistakes? Is he healthy? Can he put that injury behind him? That's yet to be seen. But I have them better than the Eagles, who kind of don't know what they're doing at this point. So the only difference you have the Cowboys at number 2, so you're confident that Dak is going to be able to return to form, and you too think they're going to be explosive offenses. Is that what I'm to gather?
The NFC East is the worst division in football, so someone has to win it, and then the other teams have to follow in line. So I think 7-9, 8-8, somewhere in there for the Cowboys.
Okay, and then the Giants, so you have them the same.
7-9, 6-10, somewhere in there.
Okay, well we'll see. We'll see how that works out. And fans, this is we're going to talk about our fantasy over the next couple of weeks. We're not only are we going to give you our predictions for each division in the league, we're going to give you we're going to have to do it this month, because next month it gets real sensitive here. It gets real competitive starting when we talk about fantasy football top players and give any lists. It's going to get real contentious here. So we're going to have to start this early. Right now, I want to give you the top 10 fantasy football quarterback list as it stands in July the 7th. Cleveland, you want to talk to me about your top 10 fantasy quarterbacks? And how
I sure do. You want me to give you my list here real quick, Cam?
You got your list ready to go?
Oh, the top 10? Sure. Derek Carr.
Oh boy.
Jalen Hurts. Jared Goff.
Oh boy. You see what I'm saying? It's already starting off real contentious. He don't even want to be truthful with you guys.
Mr. Jones up playing for the Giants.
Oh my goodness, Cleveland is something else. Okay.
We'll see what that Alabama quarterback up in New England got to say about himself. That's 5, right?
See. I was talking about the top 10, not the worst 10.
No, I'm just saying these guys have potential to have breakthrough season. Justin Fields.
You see, this is the competition I'm talking about.
He's going to take the reins real early over there.
This is what I'm talking about, fans.
Matty Ice is looking to make a comeback down there. He's got your guy that you think is going to be a Pro Bowler, right?
Oh my goodness gracious!
Tight end. He's got a brand new weapon.
Okay, go ahead. Who else you got?
Taysom Hill in that Sean Payton offense. Who knows what he can do?
Is he going to be even the quarterback?
Of course, he's going to be the quarterback.
Okay. Over Winston, over Jameis.
Yeah, and then to round out my top 10, Sam Darnold, resurrection down there in Carolina.
Oh my goodness! Oh, this guy's something else. This guy is something else. That's who you running with.
That's my top 10.
Can you repeat that list? Can you repeat that list for the fans? Somebody may have missed it.
It's on tape. Just pull the tape.
No, he can't even repeat this garbage, fans. He can't even repeat this garbage that he came with.
Spill the tape, man.
Oh my goodness!
Big numbers expect from all those guys.
Oh my!
They have enough support around them to definitely do well.
So mistakenly off your list, there was no Russell Wilson included on your list. There was no your guy Ryan Tannehill was not on your list. I'm just
those guys have to go through training camp. They're getting acclimated to a new offensive system. Those other guys, hey man, they're way ahead of the curve right now, and I'm predicting big things from them.
Oh my goodness! So fans, we're not going to get any honesty or truthful list out of Cleveland. So this exercise, we might as well stop this now. If he's coming with Justin Fields in his top 10 fantasy football list, but I understand it. I understand it. He's not confident in his fantasy football skills to kind of educate the fans, which is you guys fans.
Justin Fields has physical attributes, and he
He's
will
not
be he
confident.
quite
He's not
possibly could be a
confident.
week one starter on a team that really needs him. So his fantasy, value is much higher than
Because
perhaps
when
you're giving him credit for, Cam.
because we're playing the same league, he doesn't want to. He thinks he doesn't want to give out any of his ideas because he's afraid he's going to lose. And that's it. I mean, I guess I understand it from that point. When you have no confidence, I guess I understand where you're coming from. However, I'm surprised that he just kind of handed the fans who've been rocking with us for so long this pile of crap that I'm just surprised you kind of shoveled this down their throats.
Okay, Cam. All right. I did leave somebody off the list. Big Ben Roethlisberger.
You see what I'm saying?
He's got a lot of receivers over there, man.
You see
Chase
what I'm saying?
Claypool coming into his own.
I mean, okay, fans.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
So maybe we come back to this next week, fans, to see if Cleveland can sleep on it and his conscience and get to him. Maybe you guys can hit him up.
Deontay Johnson. He's got weapons over there.
What's your Twitter handle, Cleveland?
At Clevie Wonder on Twitter. Cleveland Steel. Instagram.
Maybe you guys can get on him, man, and help this guy realize that what he's talking about, this nonsense, you guys want some good feedback. You guys want some actual quality feedback because he's not giving it to you right now. So maybe you guys can hit him up and let me know. Copy me on your text or your tweet. My name is, or you can find me at What's Good in Sport. That's the letter N singular. What's Good in Sport. Follow me, hit me up, and then give Cleveland a piece of your mind as he come with the worst top 10 list I've ever heard of. I mean, I said top 10, not bottom 10. He gave us the bottom 10, fans. Yeah.
Gave you numerous quarterbacks with tremendous potential to have breakout years.
I understand. I mean, when you're not confident in what you can do on a fantasy football squad, you try to just retain as much information for yourself as possible. I get it. I totally 100% get it. So let's talk about. Let's take a little break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about this week in history, give you some history lessons, and then we're going to get into this Sha Carrie Richardson saga. Cleveland, what you think of this? I want to get your feedback on whether she should be playing or she should be going to the Olympics. What you think of this situation? Interested to know your thoughts. So when we come back, we're going to jump right into that.
90-second break real quick.
Yeah. Right. Go ahead. You gotta be ashamed of yourself too.
I don't know what you're talking about, Playboy. Ready.
Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself, man.
Gave you some diamonds in the rough. You got to take advantage. There's a lot of material there, man.
This is not for me. I can beat you. I can beat you without your top 10 list. This is to help the fans, man. And this is what you're gonna get the fans. Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, and you have Jalen Hurts finishing number 4th in their division. Come on, Cleveland.
Which means he's going to put up. They're going to be down a lot. He's going to put up big numbers.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
They're going to be coming from behind a lot.
All right, fans, let's get back at it. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the fantastic show, Voice of the Fans podcast. It is July 7th, week 146 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. As always, each and every week, what we do is we give you some historical lessons. This week, we're going to talk about what's happened on this day several years ago, 1957, July 7th. Althea Gibson won won a women's single tennis championship at Wimbledon, 1957. July 9, 1893, Dr. Daniel Hale Williams performed her first open heart surgery at Providence Hospital in Chicago. That was, over 100 years ago, Cleveland. 1905, the Niagara Movement was founded by W.E. Du Bois. Again, 7/11, 1905. 7/7, 1985, Boris Becker became the youngest, the first unseeded, and the first German player to win Wimbledon in the men's finals. Unseeded, huh? Boris Becker, unseeded in 1985. Wow, that's pretty admirable.
Interesting. Not quite sure how the Boris Becker trivia made it into this segment of our show, but okay.
And
I'll roll with it.
Again, July 7, 1990, Martina Navratilova won a record 9th Wimbledon championship, a women's singles Wimbledon championship record. Actually, Martina Navratilova getting it done back in 1990. Cleveland, last week, I want to get your feedback on this. Last week, it was announced, or the day after the show, I think it was, college players, college athletes are going to be able to make money off of their name, image, license. How do you think this is going to impact the college football or college sports? We've seen that the football team in Miami, if you're a part of the football team and you go to the gym and you tag, tweet, post about a particular gym, they're going to pay you $6,000 a year to kind of promote this gym. Any of the 90 players on the football team can. So they're able to make some money. We have Master P's son signed a $2 million deal. You know, it may or may not end up being $2 million, but it's reported at $2 million deal to kind of promote a tech company as he goes to school. He enters his freshman year in college. What else have we seen out there? We saw a kid down in South Florida create his online account, Shopify, where he's selling jerseys and signed hats and jerseys and T-shirts, signed memorabilia, anywhere from $50 to $650. So these players having an opportunity to make money off of their likeness. What do you see about this? And is this a benefit? Is this a good thing, or is this wild, wild west? What's your thoughts on it?
A couple of different thoughts on it, Cam. First and foremost, happy for the players to have an opportunity to profit from their likeness and the success that they have at their respective universities in whatever sport it is that they're playing. So the monetary compensation for that is great. I think this is the first cycle. So I think in the beginning, everyone is just going to be jumping at, oh yeah, well we'll give you some money to do this, yeah, we'll give you some money to do that. It's all well and good until your team goes 4-7 when they were supposed to go 7-4. It's all well and good until you get in trouble for slapping that girl in the club, and then all of a sudden, just like with professional players, all of a sudden all your endorsements are gone. And then what are we looking at here? So we have no frame of reference for which to kind of determine who's worth what. So in the beginning, it's just everybody just kind of cash grabbing, right? But eventually it will have to calibrate itself to where you're worth this, you're worth that. Potentially you could be this. The minute you don't do that, there'll be all kinds of stipulations in their contracts with regards to how they get paid. That's part one. Part two, it makes it easier for the boosters to funnel what was previously illegal money to athletes. Well, now I'll just buy 50,000 of your shirts. Instead of just giving you the manila envelope, well, now I have a much easier way for you to get access to capital. So, and it's completely above board, even though it's not completely above board. So we'll see how that plays itself out. And then we'll just see, kind of the emotional content of these players. I mean, these guys are, again, they're 18 and 21 years old when they're making these decisions, and they oftentimes don't have the best people advising them to make these decisions. And so they're going to end up being in, very adverse situations, for lack of a better word, because they just don't have the type of guidance to really cash in on what it is that they're trying to do. So I think we're going to see all three of those things play themselves out. And again, hate to say it, but this generation is also extremely emotional. So the emotional roller coaster of the highs and lows of just wins and losses and how they affect your bottom line will, I think, be significant in how their performance ultimately is. So a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, but I think the part that is the biggest, I guess, question mark is understanding what the market is. And because it's unprecedented, no one really actually knows. I mean, Masterpiece on getting $2 million to do anything is kind of crazy, right? I mean, whatever company is endorsing him, I'm sure they get more exposure. And yeah, okay, you're close to Master P and his son and all that, but that dude's not going pro, man, in anything. So why would you give him $2 million?
Recognition. And then number one, your recognition. They're going to pay, and that to your point of everything being a cash grab. Now, where we'll use the University of Washington, the fourth tackle on the University of Washington, he lands a deal with Bellevue Toyota to say if you get Bellevue Toyota on screen, that we're going to pay you $2 million for doing that. And so he writes it on his T-shirt and, on the back of his shirt his stomach, and lifts his jersey up when they score a touchdown. So I think, but once that happens in week one, it's going to be regulated in week two to where, okay, that's illegal. You can't do that. To your point about the boosters, well, we already know that they were passing out the manila envelopes already, or the used school books with the extra dollars in it, in the front and back, of the book. We already know that was going on already. So what this allows, this kind of makes it legal, so where they can just say, come on down and wash our 3 cars for $1,000 a piece, and you've worked for that money, you've earned that, and there you go.
No, see, that would be more like a job. This is more like, hey, I like that shirt with your face on it. I'll give you, I want to buy 15,000 of those.
Either way, he has to produce
Right.
He has to produce the shirts. He has to work with somebody to produce the shirts. He has to go.
No, you're misunderstanding all that.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. I understand, but he has to create the website. He has to do something to.
No, he doesn't have to do any of that. I mean, he has to have someone do that for him.
Well, there you go.
And again, that's that may be an out of. But again, you may not even have to do that. That's what I'm saying. You don't really actually have to deliver the shirts, Cam. In the same way that, I mean, it's like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, who cares? You can just say that that's what you're doing. Whether the shirts actually get to Tom Nelson's house or not.
Okay.
Who cares?
Or if he actually stops by and washes the car, same difference. I'm scheduled to wash his car. I got 3 car washings going on Saturday at 12 o'clock. Whether he shows up to wash his car or not, he still makes his 10 grand per car wash, or whatever that looks like. But what I think about, so to your point of nobody kind of educating the kids on the value that they can bring in, I think on the opposite, now these kids have a reason to pay attention in econ class. Then now they have a reason to pay attention in finance class now, because they can actually make this money and they can actually do something either today, next week, next month with the money that they're making versus it being so far in the future. And they talk about Don has $10,000. What does Don do with this $10,000? Does he put it in?
Sorry. I also forgot to mention, it will also breed dissension and animosity amongst these teams because some players will be making more money than others. And it will also create an opportunity for more mischief and mayhem to go on because so many people that are younger and are around players that are the same mindset will have more opportunity to get into trouble.
No, see, and this is where I disagree. This is where I think you're wrong, because once the NCAA or the college or the team, because it's not the NCAA regulating this, it will be the teams actually regulating this. So in schools, so once the school says, okay, you get in a fight, now you get in a fight at the school bar, you punch a girl in the mouth, now you're kicked off the team. You're not able to capitalize on you're not playing, so you're not able to capitalize on your name, image, and likeness. Because nobody's paying the biology student to.
No, you're already in a contract though.
What do you mean?
The money has already been reallocated to you. So whatever you do with it after you get it is whatever you do with it.
No, but if you have to stay eligible to capitalize on these dollars,
that will never be part of the contract.
That has to be part of the contract. And
we'll see.
I think it would be. And so the players would have to stay eligible. They have to be eligible to make the money. Or again, who's paying the biology kid? Who's paying Who's paying Greg Oden to come to school in January? Or excuse me, who's paying Greg Oden to come to school after March Madness? They're not. Why would he come to school after March Madness? Like, he's not. You're going to pay Greg Oden through up into March Madness. After that, he's a free agent going to the NBA. He's able to work on his own deals. So that kid who you're talking about gets suspended or gets punches the girl in the face at the bar. When he becomes ineligible or gets arrested, he's not going to be able to cash in. The kids now, you're talking about the third and fourth stringers on the team. Now they see that this guy, the first stringer, is able to make X amount of dollars. That they're going to work harder because they want to be. They know their time's coming, so they can be the first stringer. You're only going to get the recognition is when you make plays and you perform on the field. On the field or the court.
That remains to be seen. You've seen this over and over again with especially college basketball prospects.
Okay.
The players that they give the hundreds of thousands of dollars to, oftentimes are players that you've never ever heard of.
So Zion Williamson, you don't think they're going to pay Zion Williamson to wear the Asics? You don't think he's going to sign a deal and just
see? You have these guys walking around like walking billboards. That's not what's going to happen here. They're going to be able to make money off of their likeness.
Okay, right.
So, and profit with monetary compensation. But that's you're making it seem like it's all like performance based, and it's not. They're just going to get way more money way faster.
If we don't see Zion's kind of a bad example because he was known before he went to Duke, but
all these players are known before they come to major college universities and institutions.
Not enough to.
Some of them are bigger than others, but yeah,
enough. James Wiseman in high school, the world wasn't familiar with James Wiseman. People that he was in the city he went to high school with were, but
he's the number one prospect in the country.
the world wasn't familiar with him coming out of. I mean, I don't even know where he went to school. He went to somewhere in Texas. But my point is, James Wiseman is not going to be able to collect on that until he gets on the court and shows he's the number one prospect going into the pros. Whatever he plays his 5, 6, 7 games.
I disagree.
I
disagree.
Know. I don't know. These football players are going to have to do it. They're going to have to do it on the field. They're going to have to perform on the field. Basketball, you're right. There's a couple guys coming out of. There's a handful of guys going into college NBA or college courts that can command big dollars right out of high school. There's a handful of guys. The majority of the guys are going to have to do something on the court. The majority, Trae Young is going to have to do something on the court before they start giving him Dunkin' Donuts commercials or coffee commercials for how good he can shoot. You know what I'm saying? He can't
because they were already going to give him money to do that, and now they can just do it in a more legitimate way.
But nobody. Why am I going to pay your nephew?
Why do you pay any high school player to come to your university and do anything? And you pay them proportionately with what you think that they're going to be able to produce, right?
Exactly.
Fab Five makes more money than BYU, right? Under the table, right?
Certainly. But
okay. Instead of just giving you these envelopes under the table, you can just say, "Hey, man, why don't you just make this shirt, and I'll buy 20,000 of them."
Again, that's a handful of guys that you're talking about, Cleveland. You're not talking about everybody across the board. You're only talking about a select few.
It's not going to benefit everybody across the board. It's only going to benefit those players that have a likeness that people are going to want to purchase.
How does your likeness get known, sir? Your likeness gets known based on what you produce and what you do on the court or the field.
These are two different arguments. Players get paid before they ever come to the university. They get paid while they're there. Even if they're not making super incredible plays that get you the little, stamps on the back of your helmet, they're still getting paid.
You're talking about a handful of players, though. You're not talking about the majority of the players. What this is, I think this deal is opening it up for now that linebacker has a chance to actually capitalize on his name. So we'll go to Brian Bosworth. Everybody on that Oklahoma University team wasn't Charles Thompson, who was likely the best running wishbone quarterback, did not have the recognition that Brian Bosworth did, right? Except in Oklahoma and the city he came from, right? Charles Thompson, he was likely the very best wishbone quarterback that you've seen in your lifetime. Did not have the recognition that Brian Bosworth did, correct? You'd agree on that, correct?
I'd agree.
So therefore, now Charles Thompson has a chance to make similar money to Brian Bosworth that Bosworth was making because Brian Bosworth was promoting himself. However, everybody looked to Oklahoma because they knew who Brian Bosworth is. They went to see the guy who had the buzz cut, who dyed his hair, who painted his hair different colors. They went to see who this madman was. But now as they're looking at Brian Bosworth, now they say, oh shit, they had a running back. Oh shit, they have a receiver. Oh shit, they got linemen. Now let's invite one of these linemen down who may know Brian Bosworth. Hey, come down and pass out hot dogs at our burger stand, hamburgers and hot dogs at our burger stand. We'll pay you for your 5 hours a day, we'll pay you $50,000. And if you can get Brian Bosworth on the phone, have him come down here, by the way, that's an extra $20,000. But these players have to be known to done that. They have to know who the hell Charles Thompson is to do that. You know what I'm saying? They can't. They have to be known. You're talking about the handful of players, the Brian Bosworth, the Deion Sanders, that everybody knows about. Sure, they're going to be taken care of. But now if we can get some of the other players on the team, get them some recognition as well, now everybody's going to be taken care of. So you're talking about select few players that already getting paid and who's already being taken care of. But this opens it up so that now that the safety can get taken care of. Now your boy, what's your boy? Having a brain fart. Number 21 for the Hurricanes, who passed away.
Sean Taylor.
So now Sean Taylor and the rest of the crew can get taken care of, and it's not just the running back who came. It's not just your boy went to Denver, got traded to Washington. It's not just the big time players. Now, when they look at the game, they see, oh, these other players out here get some recognition, are playing big ball too. Now let's talk to them. Let's get them down here. So I understand what you're saying. It's going to be the Wild West, but it's just a handful of players that you're talking about. Furthermore, I think these kids now, if this might be a bad example, but I'll say a kid like Tim Couch, who put up spectacular numbers at the University of Nebraska, decides to come out at a junior because he wants to get paid. Now he's able to do so many car deals in Nebraska, do a book signing, wash cars, or however they work a deal. He's able to show up and announce at the what are they called, the old, when they have the old cars come to car shows. He's announcer in the car show, or just an appearance fee for showing up at the car show. They give him $25,000 on for a Sunday afternoon.
I understood the rule a little bit different, Cam. I didn't understand it as just you could all of a sudden you're just employable and you can just go out and just do whatever it is that you want. I thought that it was just you profiting off of your likeness.
Name, image, and likeness. That's your name. Tim Couch shows up at the book signing. Image, did they have a picture of Tim Couch on a poster? Tim Couch will be here at the book signing. Your likeness, obviously, a picture of him. So, yeah,
okay.
Now those for him showing up, let's just say the Tim Couch book tour. He's able to have the book tour come to the Marriott. The Marriott's going to pay him X amount of dollars to have it there, because they're sponsoring it. Now, I think in this situation I'm talking about, the kids will want to stay in school longer because he's not in a hurry. I don't know Tim Couch's financial situation or what it was at the time, but now he doesn't have to be in a hurry to go to the NFL and try to make money.
Tim Couch is from Kentucky or played at Kentucky. He was the number one pick in the draft.
But that's
not a good example. You were saying previously that you were trying to make examples of other people that traditionally would not have had that type of spotlight, and now they get a chance to shine. So using other players that are potentially number one picks in the draft, not a good example.
No, but
at the end of the day, here's what's going to happen. Players that were legally getting paid can now officially get paid.
Illegally.
More players can get paid, and we don't have any real barometer on how much that is. But we'll know soon.
The free market will hash that out. The free market that will.
It's not going to be the free market. That is going to be somewhat of a calling card with regards to how some of these institutions are able to recruit, because they're already going to have an area where, hey man, if you come here, guarantee you sell $1 million worth of shirts.
I mean, that shirt example is a great example. But again, now that linebacker who's a junior, and he's on the borderline of a second or a third round player, but he sold $1 million worth of t-shirts, he might be more willing to stay in college another year because he already has $1 million. He already has that $1 million. The family's not destitute, and he not only will he make another $1 million next year on selling the t-shirts, but he can stay in school longer to improve his draft stock. Does that make sense? He can. What do you mean? Why are you shaking your head? No,
he's not going to do any of those things. It's just going to make them more comfortable while they're there. As soon as they can leave, they're going to leave.
Yeah, I think there'll be situations where the kid will stay.
I mean, they can be a little bit more selective per se. It's like,
exactly.
I don't want to go to Buffalo, or I don't want to go to Utah. Maybe, but probably not.
I think. I mean, if it was good, that lower was good enough for you're Andrew Luck to stay in college another year.
Terrible example.
Why?
Andrew Luck's parents were rich.
Oh,
Andrew Luck's father was an
to,
NFL quarterback.
He didn't have to worry about money, is the point I'm saying. He didn't have to worry about it. He could stay in school, have some fun. Your guy, Matthew Leinart, he can stay in school, make some money. All of these kids will have this opportunity to stay in school, make some money. And Matthew Leinart took dance classes for heaven's sakes as a senior.
Matthew Leinart was the Sportsman of the Year on Sports Illustrated and was an undefeated season and had a chance to come back with Bush, Garrett, Lindell White.
He could have came back
and try and go back to back.
He could have went out as a junior and collected a big payday he would have came out. As a Sportsman of the Year, he would have been the #1 draft pick as a junior. He decided to go back to school.
Again, not poor. Again, not poor.
But I'm saying that's another example of the kid who doesn't have to take the money, is what I'm saying. These kids want to stay in school longer. Not only will they want to stay in school longer, they'll pay attention in class now because they have money coming through their fingers, legitimate money coming through their fingers, where in their econ class, they can figure out now, how do I use this money? They're able to apply this knowledge immediately into action. That's the impact I think it'll have. It'll be interesting as how things will shake out. And that'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on, how things will shake out. So that'll be a pretty good conversation once we see a few examples of kids wanting to stay in school or kids saying, hey, the hell with the idea. I've sold enough T-shirts, I'm gone. That'll be something to follow back on. Cleveland, you weren't here last week, man. We talked about Sha Carrie Richardson, and she was tested. She might have missed. Last week she may have missed a game because her test positive for a prohibited substance. Now we know what that prohibited substance was. It was marijuana that she admitted to taking, knowing the rules and knowing that would eliminate her from or get her kicked off the team. What's your thoughts on the Sukari Richardson situation?
That she knew that the minute that she put that substance into her body that she wasn't going to be an Olympian for long. The Olympic drug testing policy is the most stringent on the planet. If you drink NyQuil, you know you're going to fail a drug test. So if you take an aspirin with codeine in it, you know you're going to fail a drug test. It's no ambiguity to it whatsoever. There's no, oh man, they might not catch me this time. No, man. She knew the minute that she did that she was not going to be an Olympian.
So do you feel, not sorry is a word. Do you think some changes should be made in the Olympic drug testing or what?
The only change that you can make is whether you think that the substance in their body is performance enhancing or not. And I think most people will tell you marijuana is not a performance enhancing drug, but that in and of itself, you know it is a drug and you know that it's on the list and you know that anything that is on the list will be found out.
So, all right, so she deserved a penalty, everything that was coming with the because she understood the repercussions is what you're saying.
She absolutely understood it and she absolutely knew it was going to happen. There's no such thing as you smoking weed and then maybe they won't catch it right before the Olympics. I mean, there's zero chance of that. So once she did it, all she could do was just run her fastest and try and do her best. But the minute that the test came back.
Yeah, I think it's shame. Okay, they kept her out of her event, which was 100, the 100-meter dash, 100-yard dash, whatever it was. And then she accepted the 30-day ban. And her not then being accepted on to the 4x1 relay race. Now that's an internal issue right there. I think that's an internal issue where there's like, okay, she understood, as you're saying, she understood the rules. She took it, and whether, as Grace, a lot of people say, well, she accepted it right away. She admitted her wrongdoing, blah blah blah. Well, that I don't think that kind of justifies the situation or kind of absolves you from the situation, but because she did because she did that, and when she agreed to the 30-day suspension, the team not allowing her to run on a 4x1 relay, like that's an internal issue. Whether it's the coach, the organizer, the whether he went to the players and says, should we let her on? Should we let her on or not? Like that's an internal issue. That's not WADA. That's not the Olympic Testing Committee. That's an internal issue. And what's your thoughts on that? Internally, the team not welcoming her back.
I think that's just them not condoning her decision-making abilities.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess I was more surprised that the USA track team did not welcome her back after she accepted the 30-day penalty than her, doing the penalty as well. Either way, I think that was where I was most surprised. So, and again, they didn't welcome her back there, so there's something that tells me also that there's something behind the scenes there. And then maybe she'll be clean for next time around, right? In 3 years. Now she only has to wait 3 years versus 4 years because obviously the Olympics missed a year with the pandemic, right?
We'll see. Only time will tell, right?
Yeah.
Same thing about John Bones Jones every time he fights.
Well, not every time. I think he's kind of done.
Yeah, every time he fights. Oh, he's not going to flunk the test again. Oh, I mean, he's not going to flunk the test. He done flunked it 3 times in a row. He go, oh, wow, he flunked it again.
Okay, Cleveland. Let's talk about this team USA basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you the players who are on the team.
Okay.
Bam Adebayo, Bradley Beal, your guy, Devin Booker. I guess since they got Devin Booker, they're all good. They're going to win the gold because they got Devin Booker.
Well, I mean, we'll wait till you, get to the rest of your list. But I mean, yeah. That's helpful. It's helpful to have Book on your team,
Kevin Durant, Jakeem Grant. Like, how do you make this squad? Draymond Green, Drew Holiday. We talked about his inconsistencies. Zach LaVine, Dame Lillard, Kevin Love. Obviously, we know there's questions with that. And then they have Chris Middleton and Jason Tatum. This doesn't sound like a winning squad to me. This doesn't. I mean, they got Booker, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, who probably obviously be their starter, Bradley Beal, and Dame Lillard. Okay, those are 5 starters, right? And then coming off the bench would be Middleton, Tatum, Bam.
Isn't Brook Lopez on that team as well?
No, he wasn't. Not my research. But okay, if you want to add Brook Lopez, I mean they need size. That's the first thing that stands out to me is they have no size. Now they're asking Bam. Bam is being asked to do everything on this Olympic team that he's asked to do in Miami. Play defense, get rebounds, lock down the big defender, serve hot dogs. And hot dogs.
Well, see, unlike in Miami, they won't be asking him to handle all the offensive responsibilities. They have plenty of people to put the ball in the hole.
Fair enough. But besides Bam, I mean, are you asking Kevin Love to stop somebody? Draymond, is he going to be able to play 40 minutes every night? So you got Bam and Draymond as your low post players, and Kevin Love. I mean, they're going to get abused down low. When they play Jokic, who's going to stop Jokic? Which one of these guys is going to stop Jokic? Which one of these guys is going to stop one of the Powell brothers, the Gasol brothers? Which one of these guys is going to stop your guy? Who's going to compete with Mr. Frenchie, Gobert? Which one of these guys? They have no size on this team. No size on this team. And those are just the popular guys that we know from outside the country. You look around like that's not an issue. You're looking around like every shot Devin Booker and Kevin Durant takes is going to go in the hole.
It certainly is an issue, but I don't think it's going to be so much of an issue that they don't win the gold medal.
I mean, this team, I'm not. So you're impressed with the squad? I'm not impressed with the squad.
I'm not saying constructed in its current state that this is the best team that the United States can send to the Olympics. I do think it's a team good enough to win it, though.
Again, when they go up against when they go up against Slovenia and your boy Luka, who's gonna stop Luka?
Draymond will be on him. They'll put Draymond on him.
Okay, who's gonna stop Jokic when they play Jokic?
Oh, I mean, there's probably no stopping him. I mean, they'll try and slow him down as much as possible. But I mean, who is Jokic passing the ball to? It's not going to be Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. So, not too concerned about it.
Interesting. Okay, I just think I'm not in a hurry to say that they're not going to bring home the gold, but I'm a little concerned right now with the squad as it stands. And unless there's some changes, like they're going to have issues. Any big team, like there are big men outside of this country, right? And we have nobody above 6'9". Everybody's 6'9" and less.
I think Brooks on the team. If he's not, let's just put it like this.
Who?
I think Brooke is on the team. I think he's the only 7-footer on the team.
Okay.
But even if he's not on the team, that's not their concern, man.
They're trying to outscore everybody.
They're going to try and outscore everybody. Pop is going to implement some 2 threes. Pop is going to implement some 2 threes, and they're going to get the job done.
I mean, I can't shit on Pop and what he's able to do, but I'm just I'm a little concerned right now. As I look at this roster, you got Bill, Booker, Durant, Draymond, and Lillard. Like, I don't see any rebound. Draymond not gonna get every rebound. Who's gonna stop somebody? Kevin Durant and Draymond down low. I mean, Durant, his defense has improved, but he's not who you turn to for defense. Who's gonna stop anybody? And you bring Kevin Love and Bam Adebayo off the bench. Oh my goodness. I'm not like
you feeling a bronze? Because I don't see any Argentinas out there like in 2004. So
I just gave you Slovenia with Luka and
who else plays for them?
Yeah, that's all they need though. That's all they need.
Oh, Luka against the U.S. Oh,
and what about Jokic? I mean, come on, Jokic. We just learned. We just know Jokic.
Joker, and who else?
We just know Jokic. That's what I'm saying. We just know him. We don't. All those other guys have been playing on the same team for 12 years.
Nah.
Bro, okay. We're gonna revisit this one because I'm just saying right now, I'm not ecstatic about this.
They have no size. That's a concern, but it's not so much of a concern that they're not going to win the gold medal. It'll just be more difficult to do.
Okay. All right. So now they're just trying to keep it interesting with the world, is what you're saying. Now they're just trying to keep it interesting. We're not trying to blow nobody out.
I mean, there's been injuries, there's been attrition, so they can't bring everybody like they normally do. This is what they came with.
I'd be okay if you take out Love and put Ayton in there, or I mean, what you call it can't play for a USA team. Embiid can't play for the USA team. But I mean, they need to find some big men or Karl Anthony Towns. Take Love out, put Karl Anthony Towns in the game. Like, they need some size. Not that he plays defense at all, but I mean, they don't have any size, and that's concerning to me. Cleveland,
understandable.
Before we close this out, man, Chad Johnson left $1,000 tip at IHOP. yeah, IHOP. So first thing is you say when the waiter goes over to Chad Johnson at IHOP, I mean, you kind of smirk like, nigga, what you doing here, right? But he's at IHOP, okay. He left $1,000 tip. On probably his meal couldn't have been no more than $40. I mean, and that's with a couple orange juice refills, right? His meal couldn't have been no more than $40. But okay, he leaves $1,000 tip, Cleveland. At Daniels, just to tell you, at Daniels, my tip was $40 before I added the extra $20 on there. So it was a $60 tip at Daniels a couple weeks ago. What's the biggest tip you left?
It was $100. It's by mistake.
By mistake, or you was just had a few and just say, "Here, take it," and walked out.
No,
I think I've done that before.
I fell victim to the same thing that you did. Didn't realize that the tip had already, or the gratuities already been included. So I thought I was just putting the 20% on top of whatever the bill was, but the bill actually already had included the 20%.
I think once before, I mean, not counting like big functions where, I bought dinner for everybody at the function. Those tips came out to 20-25%, might have been $250 at the time. But just at a kind of a private dinner, private function. Yeah, I left $100 tip. Me and my girl went out to dinner a few years back. So, but that was more or less. I've had a few to drink, and I didn't feel like counting it. I didn't feel like counting cash, and I just it was. I had $100. Here, take it. So it was. They caught me at a good point right there at the end of the night. So, but that's interesting. Chad Johnson out here giving tips. So, Cleveland last week, the fans miss your feedback. I mean, I got a couple texts or tweets saying like, Cleveland didn't want to talk about the first Mariner getting caught with the sticky stuff on the hands, the first pitcher getting caught with sticky stuff and getting kicked out of the game. He didn't want to address that. So I can't let you off the hook, Cleveland. In your 20 seconds, let me get the clock going. In your 90 seconds or 120 seconds talking about the Mariners, do you want to talk about how the Mariners, I think they're the only team in the Major League Baseball to have a player suspended for sticky stuff, for this new pitchers not wearing sticky stuff or not using sticky stuff. So we got the clock going. Cleveland, go.
Completely unfair, Cam. They were trying to make an example of this young man.
Oh, boy.
It's unfortunate. The substance that they found was not something that is illegal. They took the mitt, had it tested, didn't find any of those same substances on the glove, but just, had to make an example of him. So it's unfortunate that he, fell into that role. Hopefully he's better for it, understands, the circumstances of what can happen to him, and, won't make that mistake again. With regards to the rest of the Mariners, I mean, they're playing great. They have a better record than the New York Yankees with a third of the payroll and half of their pitching staff hurt. Their best outfield is yet to come. They have a potential all-star shortstop.
They have the All-Star game coming up next week. Is any Mariners in the All-Star game?
Some snubs. So at shortstop, J.P. Crawford got snubbed. Kikuchi, our number one pitcher, got snubbed. It was a little bit unfair, Cam, but in other words, politics as they are, understandable.
No Mariners are going to Colorado.
Yes, no Mariners are going to Colorado. You're correct. At present. I mean, we'll see what happens. There's still a couple of weeks left. Injuries happen. Sometimes they, have change of heart. They make different decisions down the stretch. But for right now, no.
Well, I think that says enough about the Mariners, and we've given them too much time at all. We gave you 90 seconds. That was too much.
Better record than the Yankees.
Yeah, what's that saying? I mean, that's right now a halfway point, right?
It's saying they have a better record than the Bronx Bombers, the 27-time World Series champions. I mean, that's fairly impressive.
So what? Maybe the Mariners are turning around and finish the season like at 500 or above. Maybe they'll do that because we know they're not going to make the playoffs. But when's the last time they actually finished with a winning record? Can you tell us that?
A couple years ago.
2 years ago, in 2009, 2007. When was it?
Like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, I mean, okay. So now we're 2007. When was that? Help us out. Do you remember the season, or are you just throwing it out there?
I don't remember the exact season, Cam. It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, all right. So that'd be 2017, 2016, 17.
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. They might have finished it at 500 or close to it, because if they were above 500, you would have remembered it, right?
Somewhere in that neighborhood, Cam.
Yeah.
And for the next show, I will extract that information and have it readily available for you.
Yeah, because now some of the fans want to know why we're wasting time with these chumps.
Because they're on the cusp of being a World Series contender.
Yeah, okay. Whatever.
You just don't understand it.
They're a farm team. They're a farm team for the Bronx Bombers you spoke about earlier. Anyway.
Okay, yeah. Well, I tell you what. And fans, listen up carefully. The Mariners will make the playoffs before the Miami Dolphins make the playoffs.
Ooh. Oh, listen to you. Well, I don't know. Is that a steak dinner? Is that a Daniel's dinner? Is that a Daniel's dinner? That's what I want to know. Are you that confident that you're ready to put Daniels on that?
I mean, I feel pretty confident about that, Cam.
So you want to put Daniels on that on the Mariners making the playoffs?
Yeah, give me a couple weeks, man. Give me a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, see, fans, how quickly that changed. We start talking about that.
I'm not changing it. I'm not taking it off the board. I'm just saying before I plug it in.
Okay, we start talking about that Daniels bill now. You have to rethink some things. I get you. Fans, thank you guys for tuning in for the fantastic episode of Voice of the Fans. We welcome Cleveland back this week. Nice to have you, sir. If you guys haven't done it already, please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. We appreciate your time. If you haven't hit up HNB Media TV, check out what they got going on. There's a lot of basketball content on there, and a lot of NBA content that I have through the summer for you. They have some boxing content. You'll find me doing some boxing coverage for HNB Media TV. So hit them up, HNB Media TV on on YouTube, HNB Media TV on YouTube. And they got a couple brand new shows that they just launched within the last couple of weeks. So check those guys out. Also, check us out on Voice of the Fans on YouTube page. However you're listening to us, wherever you're listening to us, whether it's on podcasts, where you're on your commute to work, whether you're working out, whether you're running errands with the wifey. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Rate and review our podcast. If you have not done so, hit us up on YouTube. Again, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of the show. We appreciate that. I want to leave you guys. Well, before I leave you guys, I want to leave you with a quote. I'm a big fan of quotes, and I believe a lot of life you can live through these quotes. Persistence can change failure into extraordinary achievements. Repeat that. Persistence can change failure into extraordinary achievement. That's from the 4-time AFC East or 4-time AFC Super Bowl representative, Marv Levy. I liked it so much, I'm going to repeat it again. Persistence can change failure into extraordinary achievement. That's the words of Marv Levy. So be persistent. Be persistent. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on what you do. And fans, you'll be a success if you just continue to do what you do. Be persistent at it. Once again, fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Welcome Cleveland back. Thank you for joining us this week, sir. Once again, please subscribe, rate, review our podcast. And as always, thank you for making our voice your choice. Thank you, Cleveland, man. Have a good one.
Have a good night. Talk soon.